So this video will pretty much me going over the bull burst, and we're probably just gonna focus on that for December because that one gives us like a hefty return, and we'll see how we do on that one. The buy the dip, nothing really triggered yet because a whole bunch of stuff is sort of happening right now. But as of right now, we're just gonna focus on the bull bursts, which these holds are generally ranged from either like a 2-day hold or like a 2-week hold. So it's pretty short term. Generally, I tried to do it within like the week. Like Boeing, I thought Boeing would have its big dip like last week, but it ended up happening this week though. So yeah, sometimes I'm a bit too early, which is not a bad thing. I just need to better my verification. That's it. So like Walmart, I think Walmart was my calls for last week. The focus was, I thought this point was the support when it triggered. So I'm gonna make the triggering point. The triggering point was on the 7th on Friday. So normally I was looking at the data like, oh, it has like a daily support right here. But I have to always reset my chart. So I thought right when this green, it didn't really touch the black line. I thought like, hey, that's the support. And it did bounce off it a couple times. So I was like really sure about it. Then it created a daily resistance right here. So that was the resistance. I think it went above like a little bit, but I think as I go down the different time zones, it looked like more and more of a support, even though we had this daily resistance. So if we go look on this big dip right here, because I was like, I think it was, yeah, it was Monday when I sort of went into it. I was like, yeah, Monday, whatever. I'll go into it. Because when this dip happened right here, I thought like, okay, that's a heavy good support because that's when the green sort of crossed that black line right there. And that 4-hour is a good support. It didn't cross this dotted line right here, but I was like, close enough. It already crossed this black line. I was like, oh, okay, this has to be a good support because normally when a bull burst triggers, you have to wait for like 3 things. You have to wait for a 2-hour OG support. You have to wait for a 4-hour OG support. Once those 2 supports occur, that's when you should buy in. So right now we're in the 4-hour. Because the 4-hour right here, that was like the indication buy because it created like a more clear support for Walmart around like the $100 price. So if you go to the 2-hour, so the 2-hour, I thought like, hey, this is sort of close enough of a downtrend because right here I was looking at the KOV right here. I was like, that looks like a good support. But the fact that it already broke down at this support generally was not a good support to play off. So I was looking at this support. This was the secondary support, which verified this is the OG. This is a clear visual of the support right here. So that's when it had its support, right when that green crosses dotted line. And that'll be purple. So now the fact that it has like a 4-hour support and the 4-hour support occurred right here. There was a false one. I thought it was like, okay, this should be good. Let's buy Monday. It should have this uptrend, but it didn't happen. It had this couple days of like a downtrend. Also, earnings was happening. Earnings was sort of scary, but part of me was pretty confident about earnings. Even though tech is down, but people consumerism will be up still, so that's fine. So that's why I was like, yeah, people are still gonna buy stuff, and they'll think of Walmart trying, because people still need like basic necessities. The tariffs hasn't really affected Walmart. Walmart could outsource all their other things other than China too. So because a lot of their products, people think like, well, China makes a lot of things. That's actually not true anymore. It's actually India and Vietnam. Those are becoming like the main producers of all our small stuff now. It could be some other countries too, but I know just India and Vietnam are like taking all the jobs what China used to have, like to produce like all the stupid like small knickknacks and stuff. But other than that, we have a verification on the 1 hour. Yeah, the 1 hour had like support too, so that's when I was like, oh, it has to be up. Also, it was peaking above like the 1 hour purple line, the trauma, and that's all. I was like, oh, okay, it's probably should be good, and it's above the 2 hour, so it should be good, which is this purple line. But it had that dip, so, and had a better 2 hour and 4 hour support. So that's why I was doing calls on the bull burst for Walmart. But SO was puts too. That triggered on the bullish burst also. But that one's a little bit quicker. The main reason I did puts on SO was because, where's that trigger point? I think the triggering point was like right here on Tuesday. Look down the list. But yeah, hopefully later in the future I'll make more videos. I'm trying to encourage myself and motivate myself to make more videos. I just have to do it. It just makes things a lot more clear. I'm like going down like the AI list on Discord right now to see. No, I'm not finding it. It's probably one of those days I just forgot and just was lazy to post up like the AI list. Okay, well I can't find it, but I saw it. Trust me. I believe it was on that day too. On this Tuesday, November 18th. This is November 20th, so it should be on. See, I have a huge gap between 11:13 and 11:17. Happened on 11:18, so I have 11:17, but nothing occurred. So the next one should be 11:20. But 11:20, that list was so big that I had to scroll and didn't catch everything. So yeah, but trust me on this, it triggered and it happened on a Tuesday. Thinking it will have like a huge uptrend, but looking at the daily so far, it broke the daily support, which is this purple OG support, because this green line is super low. The fact that also the green line is also below this red, indicating like a heavy downtrend. Next, what also look how of a gap of this purple line and this red line is. That's a huge downtrend. Looking at the 4 hour, we have a clear resistance. This sort of peaked up a bit right here. So the fact that the price is not above that 4 hour indicates a more of a downtrend. Also, it's below the 4 hour trauma, which is this purple line right here. So we have that. We also have it breaking the 4 hour 4 hour OG support too, which is like right here. So so many indications of like a heavy downtrend. It did have this bounce, so it ended up being like a swing trade. I think I only got like 25% return on it. It could have been a lot more, but here is a 2-hour support that occurred right here. Right when that green cross right here touching the red, this guy right here was the support on it. That's it. The fact that it broke that also is a huge indication of like a downtrend. It's about to make a resistance. Also, it created a resistance too on the 2-hour, on the 2-hour KOV. Right here, when this purple crossed that red, that indicates like a resistance too. And that's when I was like, oh, easy, yeah, do puts on it. I think the 1-hour had a resistance on it, on right here on the triggering point, right when that orange crosses dotted line. So I have to like remember all these little small triggers on each time zone. It also has like resistance too. So I had multiple resistance, hence, hey, you should do puts. And generally when you're seeing that many resistance with on the triggering day, is generally like a 2 to 4 day put hold most of the time. Of course, everything's not perfect. Let's see. But yeah, those are some examples. But Boeing was like the biggest gainer, but that was from the bear burst. And the thing about the bear burst, you have to wait for one thing once it triggers. You need to wait for a 2-hour resistance KOV. So normally when the bear burst right here, once this triggers, either we have to wait a couple things. We have to make sure it's below all like the trauma, which is the purple line on the chart, which is right here, this purple line. Make sure that's below like every time zone. 4-hour daily. Okay, it's below every time zone. Cool. Even the 1-hour. Next was once it's below all that, we are waiting on a resistance. And once the resistance occurs, that's generally when you should do puts. And the puts they generally last about 5 days, so pretty much a week. So sometimes you might have to do puts into the next week because once it triggers, like I think it triggered the resistance like on a Tuesday, so we're supposed to extend those puts into next week. So if we go into, I think it was this day, Friday. I'm just gonna go down the list because it triggered a while ago for Boeing. On trigger, McDonald's triggered. Okay, it was on November 5th. So November 5th, we can sort of see right here. We had a trigger on Boeing. And it had a huge win rate, which was 3 out of 0. So indicating like, hey, you should probably buy this. It follows the trend pretty easily with this setup, with these triggers. So, and it also says, oh, average, it had like a 500% return last time. And guess what? It did had like another 500% return, which was sort of crazy. So it triggered on November 4th. That was the triggering point. So I know I'm supposed to like go over the bull blast, but I promised you guys that I would make a VOD for Boeing puts though. So here it is. So it triggered on November 4th. This November 5th. That was the triggering point. So on the triggering point, I have to look for a couple things. Because Boeing, it triggered multiple times already. So right here, it created a daily support on this last candle. that was the big thing, which is purple. Resistance had an old high resistance, which was like super high up here. Next, we verify on the 4 hour, like, hey, the 4 hour triggered a 4 hour support on the day that triggered. So generally, when that happens, I think it was last week. This was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We got it last week. So I was like, okay, it's below this purple and it's below this orange. It has to have this downtrend. But I forgot the most important thing. So if I zoom out on the 4 hour, it was like teetering. So at this point, when I bought in on that day, it was probably the Monday. This was low. This was low too. It's below the 4 hour KOV, so it was below so many supports. I was like, it has to fall. But I forgot like the one thing. Oh shoot, I totally messed up. I'm supposed to show this. So, like I said, it had the daily support, which was this purple. It had the orange support, which was the 4 hour, which is this orange. And had the 4 hour KOV support. And the fact that it broke below all of it, I was like, yeah, it has to fall. But the one thing I forgot was that I was supposed to wait for a 2 hour resistance. And that occurred on Wednesday. Or Tuesday. Between Wednesday and Tuesday. And that's when this purple line crosses red line. So when that happens, I think I sent a photo. It was like, oh, hey, it created its resistance. So that's when I was like, shoot. And that's why I was like, maybe if I get lucky, because I do have 2 days and it would have been like a huge gain for Thursday and Friday because it's getting close to the expiration date, thinking like, oh, I'll get major gains during that point. I did have like a small return. I only had like a 10% return on Boeing. Then I had to rebuy it like this week for the major downtrend. I had soft paper hands and I just sold it. And I just like kept the one. But yeah, it just kept on falling. So that was a 2 hour resistance. That was like the confirmation to buy in on that resistance. The confirmation on its like downtrend was this 1 hour right here. So that was the support on the 1 hour. So generally the big rule for puts for the bear burst, if I didn't catch it on the resistance, there's like another verification to know it's gonna have a continuous downfall is once it breaks the 1 hour and the daily OG supports. And the OG is this chart right here, which we're focusing on. So this is that's the OG right there. If it breaks in the 1 hour time zone, did break right when this green crosses this dotted line, that indicates that support. It broke support. It tried to go above it, but it didn't. It also broke the daily. And the fact that also this green line crosses this red line too, and that was like a huge indicator also. Other than that, yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I really was hating myself a lot, knowing that, man, that would have been such a great trade if I just held. But I didn't. I was like, oh, lame. But yeah. But like I said, I wasn't really focusing on the bear burst yet. That'll probably be like next week. But the thing is, I'm trying to guarantee one of the AI trigger mechanisms, so that's pretty much the big thing right now. So yeah, so as like when I post the list for on the AI bot, generally it won't trigger on that day. So I generally will save it. I'll create triggers, and once the trigger happens, then that's when I should react on it. That's like the game plan ideally, because I should create like a new like bull burst list, because a lot of times like when it triggers, like I don't see anything. Like NTB, that was like a triggering, but obviously nothing happened. When did it trigger? It triggered on the 20th of November. So it triggered literally like Thursday. Yeah. So even though it triggered on Thursday, I was like, all right, is it gonna be puts or calls? So on the triggering day, the one rule is just wait tomorrow to see what happens. So first off, on the daily, hey, we have a heavy OG support, not support, resistance, which is green. But we did get a nice daily support, which is yellow right here. So the fact that the daily support is closer to the triggering day sort of helps its case. Like it's probably going to be uptrend. Next is going to the 4 hour. 4 hours doesn't really say a whole lot. It says, hey, I have a support right here, which is like a red KOV support. I was like, cool, has 2 supports. Nothing in the OG. The OG has like, hey, I had like a huge heavy 4 hour support on near earnings. So the fact that it's above all the supports, cool. And we only have 1 resistance, so higher probability it could be a call. But to me, there's nothing that verifies it yet, because for it to verify its uptrend, right here, you see how this purple line's crossing the red right now. It pretty much indicating like, hey, I'm having my resistance right now. That's pretty much it. I'm about to create a resistance. This could be the time I should do puts, because because after the triggers and I waited the next day, it's like, hey, I'm making all my resistance today. Last is the 2 hour. 2 hour says this is healthy right here. The purple's above like the red and the blue. That's indicating like a heavy uptrend. It is creating 1 resistance, which is a 2 hour purple resistance. Yeah, I know that because this orange is crossing this dotted line. And that is the resistance. So knowing that, hey, a couple things has to happen for its uptrend. We have like a good amount of support, which is good. And the fact that if it breaks above this 2 hour purple and stays above this blue, it's a high probability that we're gonna have a nice uptrend on MTB. It's just some bank. Also on the 1 hour, I think the 1 hour is more crucial on it, but it says it already broke above the 1 hour. Did it? Yeah. It pretty much said it already broke above the 1 hour OG resistance, which is right here. But generally, even if it broke above like the 1 hour, it needs to break above the 2 hour. But the only time I don't use the 2 hour is if the price is above this blue line and it breaks above like a new 1 hour resistance. That's when I'll probably do calls on it. But it's above this purple line, which is like the trend line, which is good. Right here. It's not above the 4 hour, which is not like the worst thing. It's above the 2 hour at least, and the 1 hour, which I'm talking about is this purple line right here, which is called the trauma line. So yeah. But yeah, probably this might be like a super long video. I'll make another video, probably like another VOD of me studying and going through an entire bullish burst. And most of the time, I probably want the guys that are fully invested to look into those videos and to see a recurring pattern. And once we see those patterns super often, then we can be more confident in our investing. But other than that, but I don't want to bore you guys because that's what mainly my weekend is. It's really just going down the list, verify, like, hey, which supports did it have? What resistance did it have? What did it break? I make a list of that. Like, I write it down, like on paper, like literally. I don't know if you guys see it. So I make a huge list of like, hey, I have like a whole bunch of paper like scattered everywhere to verify, like, hey, does it have A, B, and C? Cool. Did it break D? No, not yet. Then I'll just wait until it breaks D. And it's just pretty much like a checklist. So like I did for like Tesla, like, hey, even though it's on like the bullish burst, but did it have this and this resistance? Yes, it did. Does it have any these supports? No, it doesn't. Is it below the trauma? Yes. Then I'm like, okay, I'll do puts onto it, and then I write the timeline of when the downtrend happens and what am I looking for once it hits another support. So generally, I'm waiting till this green line touches this black line because that indicates it's secondary support, and that's when I should sell. So that's how my system works. That's pretty much it. But I'm gonna cut it off right there. I'm pretty much just gonna study the entire Sunday. It's like what, 6? Probably gonna study till like 10 o'clock. So yeah, those are the two big. That's what's currently happening now. Now I have more time. I sort of want to be disciplined in making more videos. I want you guys to keep me intact, call out my names like, hey, make these videos. I need like someone accountable pretty much because I'm pretty lazy, truthfully. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. Thanks for hanging out, and I'm pretty much gonna study the entire day. Thanks. See ya.